never had an AGM, or if your entire committee resigned years ago and you've not had an AGM for years. Well, in this video, I'm going to cover what to do if it's your first AGM or your committee has simply collapsed. Okay, so there are two different scenarios here. The first is if you've never had an AGM for your building or a legal management committee, and the second is if you've had a meeting in the past and the committee elected, but they all resigned or it just disbanded at some point. This is actually a little easier, as you can just call the first general meeting without any major hoops to jump through. You simply place a notice up 8 days before the meeting in a conspicuous place, giving the date, time and location for the first meeting. At this first meeting, everybody should be entitled to vote. Now, there may be owners who have not paid the developer for the maintenance of the building, but if you don't have any accounts or if they weren't issued under the authority of the committee, it's most likely the developer's private dealing to recover this debt. Now, also don't worry if you don't have all the information to set your budgets and issue fees now. Just get the ball rolling by electing the first committee. It's the committee that set the budget and collect the fees, so get them elected at this meeting and start working with the information you've got. Once you've got the necessary information to put a budget together, you don't need to call another general meeting. You can simply set a budget and start billing unit owners under the authority and powers of the management committee. You can find out more about setting budgets on my website. I find that most developments don't call a meeting because they think they need to have all of the information on the owners first, and as they don't have this information, the property will just sit in limbo. Now, the problem with this is, well, you need a management committee to have the legal authority to hold a database of unit owners and residents. So if you ask a developer or manager for this information without a legal committee being in place, they're probably going to shoot you down quoting GDPR. And there's a whole nother video on that on the website if you want to know all about GDPR and its effect on communal property. Well, fortunately, you don't really need the owner data to call the first general meeting. Simply put up a notice in the building at least 8 days before the meeting with the date, time and location, and then you can start collecting the information from this meeting onwards. You're highly unlikely to get quorum at this first meeting, but this isn't a problem, as you can simply postpone it for a week, and at the second meeting, whoever turns up after 30 minutes is quorum, and the meeting can go ahead and be legally binding. Now, you may still get pushback from developers or management companies. This is not so much because you're not entitled to the information, but maybe they're worried about losing the lucrative maintenance contract and kind of want to hinder you from being able to put the contract out to tender. So you may need the assistance of a lawyer to force them to disclose this information. If you had a meeting before but the committee disbanded or just simply collapsed, then it's a little bit more complicated but still workable. Basically, under these circumstances, because it's not the first meeting, you need to get 25% of the unit owners to collectively request an EGM, an extraordinary general meeting, to elect a new committee. You may not have any existing committee to serve this to, so you can just post this letter on the notice board. Under the rules, if the existing committee, once requested by at least 25% of the owners, don't call the meeting within 14 days, you can go ahead and organise your own meeting. Well, you know the committee won't respond as they don't exist anymore, so it shouldn't be a problem. Worst case, you can go to the Land Registry and explain that you don't have a committee and have not had an AGM and request their intervention. They have extra powers to call a general meeting and elect a committee if owners fail to do so. But this is going to take time and I'm sure will involve lots of paperwork, so it's always best to try to do it yourself first. Once you've got to the situation of being able to hold a meeting, you can simply follow the steps in one of my videos, articles or my live training sessions on the actual meeting structure. Just go to my site www.CyprusCommunalGuide.com for more information. And if all of the above seems a little bit too much, I do also offer a done-for-you AGM service where my team will take over all of the above steps and even come to your meeting to guide you through all the requirements of the meeting. Basically, you'll just need to turn up. I'll also put a link to this service in the video description below. The package includes a one-to-one consultation with me, and we'll put together an action plan for you, so it's quite a handy little way to fast track the process. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, you can click on the subscribe button below, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to make sure you're notified when new videos are released. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I do check these and will answer them. I'm Russell Flick from the Cyprus Communal Guide, where we help you unlock your building's true potential. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.